this movie, The Stepford Wives, is the kind of attack of the old boys club, right? Against the new modern women that we're fighting. Again, one of the themes I feel like we've had for the last month is, why are all these problems still the exact same? Like what? Like just go to TikTok and look up trad wives and these like fucking creepy Christian Republican women that are just making themselves Stepford wives. Anywho, Alex, can you hit us with the basic details about the Stepford wives?
Oh yeah, no problem, Andrew Tate. Hang on one second. It's
right. I think he's guilty of much more than just misogyny. I don't love that.
You're not wrong. It's probably the least flattering comparison I've given you in a long time. So there is a remake of this. That's not the one we watched.
Not the Nicole Kidman Stepford Wives.
Not the Nicole Kidman Stepford Wives. The original film is 1975. Directed by Bryan Forbes, starring Katherine Ross, written by William Goldman, who famously hated it because he said Bryan Forbes totally rewrote him during production. Apparently, the ending is pretty close to what William Goldman wrote, but also William Goldman says he rewrote the ending.
Jeez.
So I don't know.
The audacity for whoever Bryan Forbes is to rewrite William Golding. Woo! Audacity.
Kind of a failure out the gate. It only made $4 million and also had pretty strong reactions from the feminist movement being like, yeah, this isn't good. So,
Wait, the feminists hated it.
Yes, Betty Friedan famously dismissed it as a ripoff of the women's movement. So
I think that's a bizarre.
For those of you who don't know, Betty Friedan wrote The Feminist Mystique.
Yeah, now that I've set myself in the corner that disagreeing with one of the head feminists will make it sound like I'm mansplaining. I don't think it's ripping off the women's movement. I think it's, again, I think this is a classic. Every generation gets their version of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Ironically, what was it, 2 years later, the best version of Body Snatchers ever would come out. This is Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This Stepford idea has become bigger in pop culture than I think any of the movies or books actually are. It's become this kind of docile replacement idea of taking people and subjugating them, right? Get Out is a Stepford scenario, right? All these movies, this has had a big kind of pop culture impact, right? I think not as much as Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which most of these movies are really hearkening back to. But again, what it is, it's the idea. And that's the thing. I was watching it with my wife, and she just kept being like, "No fucking way, never." Like she was getting legitimately angry and furious at the movie.
Well, I think
the insidious nature of just this, before even the like turn, just the idea that this husband just starts, when's my house gonna sparkle? And it's like, oh, you can't say that.
I think
dude.
There's a really direct thing about the Stepford Wives. Like the Stepford Wives in this case is very directly about, women's liberation and just in general, like, hey, this is not like it's 1975. Like the book was written by 1972. Ira Levin wrote it. So this is a very 1970s book reacting very heavily to the baby boomer generation and all the people who grew up. Like it's literally about like, hey, everyone came back from World War II and Korea and was like, hey, how come my wife is not just like, cooking and shit? It's like, bro, there's a lot going on. Like you've been gone.
She was
like,
into Factory Rosie the Rivetering. Yeah. She does stuff now. it's that Anchorman quote, Rod, it's the 70s. Women can do things now.
It's the 70s. Ladies do stuff now.
Shout out Jay Trejo.
Yeah, I think there's a really specific thing that this movie is addressing, which is like, oh, guys who make a lot of money. Because here's the other thing too. All of these guys have jobs that make a lot of money. Like for those of us who are a little more, let's say down the bread line.
Yeah, broke ass. Yeah.
My wife and I both have a job. That's because we both have to have jobs to live our lives. Like, and it has nothing to do with living in California or anything like that. It's just one of those things. Like, just money does not stretch the way it used to. Because it's weird too. I've been rewatching Mad Men, and I keep looking up how much certain things were, like how much like salaries were then. Because a lot of these guys, a lot of these guys made like 200 bucks a week. I was like, what the fuck was that in like 1960? And I looked up, I was like, holy shit, that was a ton of money. Like there's a lot of, like, you could afford a lot of houses back then. So again, I think it's a really fascinating, it's a deep dive, and it's a deep dive without being too deep, which is good. I also love that it's Catherine. I also think there's a casting. So also I read about this. Apparently casting this movie was like a fucking nightmare because the production company, basically Bryan Forbes would cast the movie. The production company would see it and be like, nope, no, recast this movie completely. So they kept having to recast this movie. But I do think Katherine Ross being our main character is this woman, Joanna, sorry. Katherine Ross being Joanna, I think is such a key casting because she is the ultimate break from this bit. She is the patron saint of running out on this horse shit because she's the graduate. She's in The Graduate, and she
That's right.
runs away from this cookie cutter thing. It is such a fascinating piece of casting because that automatically tells you it's great. Without having to say anything, it automatically tells the entire audience, like, oh, Katherine Ross. Okay, cool. So she's definitely gonna buck the establishment. We know this is gonna happen, which is awesome because then you spend the whole movie waiting for her to do it, which is great. It's a great little it's a great just little wick on the end of the TNT barrel. It's wonderful.
And it's interesting because I've known about this movie my whole life. Like the idea of a Stepford wife has been omnipresent in pop culture in my life the whole time. I had never seen this version of the movie. So I wondered if, and again, the print, I think I watched it on Tubi, looks so fucking awful. I Googled, I was like, was this like a no budget made for TV? It looks unbelievably shitty. And they're like, nope, this was a movie. And you're like, okay. But so I knew about the Stepford Wives. I knew the twist reveal at the end, right? I understood what I was watching. I was worried that it would be a little hampered, right? I actually found this movie completely fascinating and engaging, right? I never found that me knowing what was coming detoured it. I think in a weird way that it gives it this, and this will sound a little like sacrilege for how not on that level this movie is, it gives it that Hitchcockian thriller element of, I know the whole time what's happening, and it's just watching this lady slowly boil in the pot. That actually worked, right? Like it has like a nice little start where they're leaving New York and they see a guy carrying a mannequin, and you're like, that's on the nose. You're like, probably not to the 70s audiences, but I do. And the kid's like, Daddy, I saw a guy carrying a naked lady. He's like, that's why we're going to the country, right? And you're like, ah. And then there's like 10, 20 commuting shots that are way too much. Boom, they're out in the country. Now all of a sudden she's meeting like these weird June Cleaver type wives. So like this kind of like 1950s aesthetic wives. Yeah. She's starting to buck the system. And again, I was surprised. I don't know if you felt the same way, that knowing exactly what this story was, and I had only seen the Nicole Kidman version, I didn't feel like the movie lost anything to me. And I think it's one of those, it's such a crystal clear metaphor for the times and the brawl burning group of women that this movie hates, right? That I actually think that the twist is not the thing. It's watching these women and know they're going to be consumed by these power structures and men.
Well, I think what you said right there is exactly what it is. It's like watching a frog spread its, like you're going to boil a frog. It's like watching a frog about to like spread its legs, trying to like continue, like really what it is. And that's actually what you would call it is, this is like the first.
That's a weird phrasing for this movie. The frog spreading its legs. Nice. That's only after the procedure.
Like,
what is Alex doing to those frogs?
Try not to get dropped in the pot. What I'd say though, and actually, like what the movie really is the first cinematic instance of true gaslighting.
You think this is the first cinematic gaslighting?
I mean, this is the first movie that's like, it's primarily about gaslighting. Like it's pervasive. Like, and not only that, everybody's doing it. Like her and even like the little friend, like even her little friend there, all of them are Bobby,
Yeah.
Paula Prentiss's character. All of them, they're all gaslighting her in some way. Like whether or not they're saying like, oh, like Bobby's like, yeah, of course I believe you. Let's go on this hunt. And so she's just like walking, like she's obviously being gaslit herself by this whole society out here. But I do think there's this level of this woman is just shouting into the ether, like, do you guys not think this is weird? This feels weird. Something is wrong. Something is strange. This isn't right. The whole movie from the jump, like
Yeah.
from the beginning.
Well, I think the
Like,
beautiful part about
like
this,
something's weird.
yeah, I think the beautiful part about how this movie works and how it's set up, and especially with the knowledge of what's going on, right? When they move to the small town, there's just this kind of classic, it's American dream bullshit. Like I feel like now we're at the point like the American dream has been dead and gone for at least a decade. Like I think most of us kind of see the kind of naked exposed grift of it. But back then there really was a thing when I was a kid where like even then you still kind of believe it. So them moving to the country and him being like a bald lawyer and you're like, okay, of course he's got a younger hot wife. He's a rich lawyer. And then all of a sudden the lady walks over in the June Cleaver outfit and you're like, okay, we're not that far away, right? That if you weren't in a big city and you were in a more rural setting, that June Cleaver aesthetic didn't leave. That, yeah, she's a little more family first. She's a little bit more of a traditional housewife. She's a little more, church going and conservative. It's the thing where now we look back and all of it seems weird. But at the time, you're like, those ladies were still there. And so watching them, this big city lady just be like, they can't possibly want that for themselves. They can't want to care about baking and cleaning their house and their kids. But weirdly, there probably at the time were a lot of women who did. And so it's gaslighting from the men who are kind of like always crushing them down a little, but also the idea that our main character has to sit there and think, and she's like, maybe I am crazy. Like maybe there are women that want this.
Well, that's the thing is like, am I like the whole movie up until probably the last like 10 minutes, basically, the whole movie is Katherine Ross asking herself that exact question, like literally the entire time. And she's trying different methodologies to answer. Like, I mean, literally my favorite scene in the movie is, and this is kind of the thing about modern parenting. I don't people parent their children as long as you don't hit them and hate them. But the dad coming to her dark room now, he's like, hey, it's been like 5 hours. I've been dealing with them. Like we played with them and then, they did this and they did that. And she's like, so
figure it the fuck out, dude.
It's like, do you want a medal? Like, cause like, look, I mean, the modern situation for parenting is very like I spend a majority of the time with Henry, honestly.
Yeah,
like
dads spend like so much more time and are so much more involved with their kids now than they've ever been like in our childhood.
Andrea has to I get to work from home a lot of the time. So Andrea goes to work physically more often than I do. So I think what's fascinating is like watching this now. That's why I fucking was dying laughing. He's like, Jesus Christ, what am I supposed to do with these kids all day? I was like, bro, figure it out.
Fucking
it's not that
deal
hard.
with it. Yeah, you bald fuck. There is something though bitch. That I wanted to hone in on a little.
Sorry,
bit
bald
here,
friends, but come on.
Yeah, because like clearly there's these like super hot women with these fucking zero dud men, right? There's a lot of that kind of horror. One thing that kind of struck me watching it, right, that I was like, I want to figure out what I think is happening here. What is the problem that this man was fixing? His wife seems super fucking cool. She's super hot. She seems like a good mom. She just wants to take pictures, right? He makes a ton of money as a lawyer. I think this is kind of the extra layer of the kind of depravity of the concept of this movie is that she's not some kind of wild, insane person. She just thinks if there's a men's group, there should be a women's group. That seems to be the level of her. She's like, I should also be able to do things. Why would a man like this, in a good setup with an awesome wife, who's way hotter than him and is a good mom and all that, he won? Why did the man who's already won need to go to Stepford to hang out with these guys. We see that men's group meeting are objectively fucking douches. Why does this man fall into the trap?
Ugly assholes. You know what's interesting? Okay, I thought about this because truly the allegory, or like the comparison movie that I found myself, I kept thinking about was not the remake for this movie, but actually it was Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah, like, that's 100% a Stepford. Yeah.
Like, I was like, that's just, and like, not only that, like the way this movie is, the way it just works feels like this, like there's like direct rips from Don't Worry, Darling in this movie. But I mean, for me, Don't Worry, Darling is about,
well, Don't Worry, Darling ripped Stepford Wives. Yeah.
Right. But like, for me, they both have the same, the reason it's a rip from that perspective is, I think, because I guess rip is riff. How about we say riff?
Riff
is because they sort of encounter the same question, which is like, okay, these clearly just beta cuck dudes, before we knew what that meant, are upset that their wives are essentially people of their own choosing, and like, oh, you know, Joanna likes photography and she loves, you know, she's educated. She's sort of taken aback by the artist, who one of the artists who like one of the
draws
older
her
like
picture,
dorks who's there. No, the guy who she's like, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't know your name. I feel so silly.
Yeah,
like,
because he's drawing a sketch of her and she's like, are you that artist? And he's like, yep. She's like, wow, holy shit.
Wow, that's so great. So like, really what it is it's just this fascinating exploration of like, okay, if you're a total fucking dud of a guy and you have a great wife who clearly, you know, just is a good person and has an opinion of her own. And this is very different from 75, but like in 2026, we're sitting there watching, like, have you never met women? Like, what's the matter with you, dude? Like, are you dumb?
Yeah,
like,
it's I think that's it's such a dark undertone in this movie, is that he fucking won. Like, you are a bald fucking, like, you look like a, fucking bargain bin discount Ed Harris. And you got this woman, and she's awesome, and she supports you. She's okay with you. I mean, at one point, she's just like, hey, man, this is the men's club thing is like, hey, I just got to say, you moved me out here. You already had made the choice. You bought the house. You'd already made the choice. Can you just fucking ask me before you do things?
She makes a very valid point. She's like, you've already made the decision.
That's the most reasonable critique ever from a fucking married spouse, right? And I was like, but that's the thing. Before all that's even happened, there's no way he's moving to Stepford before he he knows that he's doing this, right? Like, he knew, hey, I can get a new wife.
1,000% on the level.
Yeah, because there's that scene where it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. She comes in, it's late, and she's like, who's in my house? She goes down in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
She's been parenting all night and doing everything on her own, which I guess is the point that he wants. And he's just downstairs having a bourbon, and he's kind of crying. And he's like, oh, we had a men's meeting tonight, and they they took me on a tour. And in that moment, I think the movie leads it as like they presented him, what they're doing.
Like how this is going to work.
I feel like he already knew. It's just that was the night
I think so too.
That he signed the dotted line.
I think that's the night where he realized it was real. Like the way that they had probably described it to get him to move up there was this, it's a great thing for your wife. She can really flourish here. Mm-hmm. And then that fucking world's first Disney adult takes him in the back and shows him the real deal. And because I got to tell you, that might have been, I was like, there it is right there. The guy, so Patrick O'Neill, the guy, there's a character in the movie, the main man, his name's Diz. And they're like, well, his real name's Dale. Why do they call him Diz? Like, oh, they say he used to work for Disney and like helped build their robots. And I'm like, excuse me. Pause for a second. The Disney guy showed up in this random town, and now all the okay. So like, the huge red flag right there. And also, shout out to all you fucking Disney adults who definitely, that's where this is your ilk.
Yeah, this shout is out your to ilk. Our main lady though, Problem. And he's like, she's like, you just don't look like a guy who enjoys making people happy. And I was like, boom, absolutely, drop it on him. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the thing, because this her husband's been seduced by the idea of all this somehow, right? And he has that moment. He's drinking scotch and he's kind of breaking down, and he just goes, I love you, right? You know I really love you. And he does this like he's repeating, like, I really, really love you. And it's like, but you don't. You don't, you fuckface. You love the idea of her,
but
you don't like the fact that it's not every single thing you want.
Well, I think that's the thing about this version of marriage in like this is like that burgeoning change in the 70s is like it's a partnership. It's not just
the nuclear family is like changing a little bit.
It's not this hierarchy of, oh, well, Faja says to do this and therefore we all must follow his lead. It's like, no, like she's right. You talk to them, like you talk to your wife about these sort of decisions. So I think those tears, like that weird sort of like wistfulness in his eyes is like, holy shit, I've made it. Actually, what I really liked, and now that I'm like, if you like kind of chew on it for a minute, what it is, because she does, she's like, make decisions with me. What's the matter with you? I kind of like thinking about it as, oh, he's crying because he realizes, oh, I fucked up. I did not make a decision with my wife, and I should have consulted her on this because actually, I'm way over my head.
I think at best, the like most generous
he goes
read
with
of this.
I'm not saying I'm not absolving. I'm not absolving Walter.
I think the most generous version of what he's going through is that on some level he realizes he's a failure of a man. That he, as a partner, has done something, made a mistake. He's not. The alpha center of the universe, and that he has to change.
That's exactly what I was saying. Is like, oh shit, I should have actually consulted here. Yeah, I did not do the thing that all she was asking was to be informed of a decision being made about her.
There has to be a level of him that's like, am I such a fucking loser? Like, I'm a lawyer, I have all this money. Am I not the man I thought? I have to turn my wife into a fucking
He's a total
robot.
Fucking loser.
Like, again, it's a murder of a human being. He's destroying her. Instead of just like, I guess they didn't have fleshlights and all that shit back in the day. But it's like, there has to be a part of him that realizes what an absolute fucking loser he is. And when he's at that men's club meeting and it's just these other like fat guys like, blah, 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 he has to look around and be like, is this who I am? This is the company that I keep? Like, I am a fucking loser. I think that's what
it is. In 2026, like, again, I love the timeliness of this because it's like we are having this moment in this country where people are like,
oh my God,
why are we not returning to the aesthetics of the 60s? I'm like, because they fucking sucked. That's why. Like, they were not great.
I wish we would stop at the 60s. There's this little fucking kind of tiny ice guy who's walking around in a literal Nazi uniform. Right. But it's like now we have so many assaults. It's like, remember when like they just took away the women's right to be in charge of her body? Yeah. And you're like, oh, that was like a year ago. Like we've had 50 other atrocities since then. And it just fades in the background how slowly, like you just start nicking away at people's freedoms and whatever. And there's so much atrocity that you just look up and you're like, I don't even know where to fucking start. Yeah. And in a weird way, this harkens back to this quaint time where it's like, you know what the biggest problem in this world is? Your wife's yap. You know, why does she have to have a say? Yeah.
Your wife having an opinion of any kind is real.
Why do you give a fuck what color car your wife wants you to buy? Fuck her. Make her a robot.
Come to Connecticut and be a douchebag.
Yeah.
With a robot for a wife.
Yeah, and again, I think because it's like a more quiet, idyllic setting, we don't have to think of it in totality like we do in every fucking second of our modern time.
Actually, I think this was a really bad writing choice, and I want to ask you if you think this. Because in the middle of the movie, because here's the thing: there's a payoff for it, but it's not like it's kind of like a meaningless payoff. Like, why are we doing this? Was in the middle of the movie, an older woman in the town square that Bobby and Joanna are talking to, and she's like, "Did you hear? A black couple moved in." And I'm like, okay, are we going to address this right now in the middle of the movie? Or are we doing that? Because at the first I was like,
she's
wait
like,
a second.
I'm not saying it's good. And I was like,
are we about to do this?
She's like,
right
but
now?
we are the most liberal little town. And I was like, Jesus,
like,
H lady.
Yikes, guys. Yikes.
Well, no, you realize at the end when we see all the Stepford wives, the black couple's in there bickering. And it's like, oh my God, is the black guy going to join the white power structure? Like, what are they saying with that decision?
That was the thing that's what I was going to ask you is like, I feel like that's bad writing because I think it's a really ham-fisted way to like thrust in race and other like just a completely different cultural moment. And I was like, no, but not this movie, guys. Like, I want to do a sequel. We could do that.
Am I shocked that in the 70s people made something like this will help black people without consulting or giving voice to black people? I'm not shocked that happened.
You're right. I'm not shocked
that's how this movie came out.
Absolutely.
When even the feminists are like, this feels like it's not for us. And you're like, okay. Yeah, it feels like some voices were not in the room in this movie that could have been in there. But yeah, I think there's, again, and it's something you're struck by today too, is like these fucking men that just can't help try to like control and dominate everything. And it's like this old caveman mindset. Like, if we just fucking break everything, people will get in line, right? Like we just saw Bone Temple. It was Jack O'Connell's thing. Like, people need to listen to me without back chat. There's just a level of like, do they not look around? Like, are you not at the fucking Klan rally, the MAGA meeting, the new Nazis, like even HOA meetings, like all these groups of just cunts? Do you never just look around and you're like, I am ashamed of myself. These are not my peers. I must do better. You're with those guys and some part of you goes, you know what? This is better than just hearing my wife ask me to do things that are reasonable. And I think that's the insidious horror is, again, this movie is preying upon the inevitability of this, that the women can do whatever they want to try. They just feel so helpless in this moment. And again, it's because you see, it's the cop, it's the druggist, it's the grocery store owner, it's every institution. There's nowhere in this show or this movie where she can go where it doesn't feel like these tentacles are omnipresent. And so it's the patriarchy, right? That this kind of new global monster that we talk about a lot now, that I think existed back then in the exact same way, even more prevalent.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that it is just like there's this famous you ever watch Peep Show? Have we talked about Peep Show before?
Oh, yes, loved Peep Show.
Okay. So the first for those guys was this show called The Mitchell and Webb Look, and there's a very famous sketch they did where they're two guys in a foxhole and they're Nazis. And they're sitting there and they turn to each other and they look at each other and go, are we the baddies? Yeah. And you're like, oh, that's like literally anytime any of this crazy shit happens. And I thought about this when they were having their like men's meeting in the room. I was like, none of these guys are going to turn to one another and just go, hey, do we suck? No, we're great. We're awesome. We're all bald and super cool.
Dude, I think they've already had that moment. They know they're the baddies.
No, I think they privately have these like self-loathing moments.
I think that's why he came home crying that night, is that when he signed the contract, the husband's like, I'm the bad guy. But I heard these robot wives can just fucking break it in half. And he's like, all right.
I think though that like it is this fascinating thing though. Like I think all of these guys, all these characters have such rich self-loathing. And I think this is a societal thing too. And I didn't intend to get political about this or anything, but this like
I know we got dinged for doing political content. Yeah, who would ever see politics in Stepford Wives? Insane.
Yeah, I don't get that at all. But so all these guys like have this prolific self-loathing, but when you get a group of those guys together, they all decide and weaponize this self-loathing into, oh, it's not me, it's society.
Yeah, it can't be all of us. We're awesome.
All of us suck.
Yeah. Have you seen our bank accounts? We can't be the problem. And they're like, do you hate your kids? I definitely hate my kids. Does your wife talk a lot? Yeah, what's up with that? This is crazy. Again, and what it is it's this, again, I think it gets to these like American promises, right? That powerful, strong men built America, and that's what it's about. And behind every strong man, there's a quiet, submissive, docile woman who's good with a rag and a pan, right? That's the world they think that we're in. And as that starts to break, because the further we get from the cave, we're like, that's fucking stupid. That doesn't make sense. Yep. Why wouldn't we have another grown adult have agency so we can make twice as good of decisions, have twice as much brain power, twice as much working hours? Like, it just is stupid. Why wouldn't I, as a dad, change a diaper? Like, Ew, gross. I don't want to do that. Yeah, you know who doesn't want to do it either? Your wife. Do the fucking diaper. But it's built on this myth of we shouldn't have to do that. We worked hard. I became a lawyer. I did what I'm supposed to do. I have power in this world. I can stop buildings. I can, throw people in jail, blah, blah, blah. But I can't go home and get whatever I want. It always reminds me, there's a famous Chris Rock joke, right? And he's like, you show me a 10 and I'll show you the guy who's tired of fucking her. The premise of that joke, right, is just that eventually, once you're not in the sack, they're a human being and you have to deal with what they want. Or even when you're in the sack and they're like, hey, I don't want to do that position. You do one. And you're like, and it just gets to this infantile thing where men think we should be in charge of every meeting, every moment. We're in charge. They're emotional. They're whatever. Who's more emotional and weepy than the men in this movie?
Yeah. It's
insane.
Hold on one second.
That'll be an edit. Amy!
Okay, sorry.
Can you turn the heat off? It's fucking unbearable in here. Out where? Did you go running? Well, yeah. When you go running in like -2-degree weather, that's a stupid choice. Of course you almost died.
She's allowed to go out and run?
No. Yeah, exactly. She's not. We're in the Stepford process right now. Yikes. She did not like that one.
Okay. Sorry.
So you're talking about weepy bitch ass men. Yeah, like here's a scene, for example, right? So the stutterer wants to record her voice and blah, blah, blah. She's like, well, we've been going door to door all day trying to find women to do this. So like, I can't. I don't have enough time to bake and clean and blah, blah, blah. And they barge into someone's house. Bobby's like, I'm a barger. And they hear this lady getting boned by the pharmacist. The gross, like, little swindle, like the Duke of Wesselton mustache, who's just fucking pounding his wife and she's loving it. And they're like, that's weird. And she tells the stutterer, she's like, hey, man, if you tell your wife to join our women's organization, this will be fine, right? They find this, busty, red-haired tennis player. She's like, yeah, dude, I like it. I'm into astrology, whatever. They go and sit in, and they're kind of talking about, I don't think my husband loves me. He's like, yeah, he doesn't even talk to me. I don't think he likes me at all. They're like, talk about sex, money, whatever. And then the other woman's like, I'm not sure I, baked today. She's like, oh, it's hard to find time to bake. They start talking like in ads. Yeah. It's so weird and creepy. And Bobby's watching.
The easy on thing?
Easy on, yeah.
Easy on.
And Bobby's watching and she just goes, Jesus Christ. Right? And this is when they start this theory, something's in the water. They have this odd detour that I kind of hated in the movie too, where it's
not very
we
good.
Need to go find the chemist you used to have sex with. And he's like being really shitty to Bobby, but also writing her notes like, hey, man, my marriage ain't good either. Let's bang. It's so bizarre.
There's like a solid 20 minutes leading up to like the end of the movie that I'm just like, did they forget the camera was on? Because it feels like all of us forgot.
The therapist scene was very bad and not warranted. But I think this scene, because this is where kind of the last point where the movie's really clicking for me. The scene of them at the women's group and the women just refusing to engage. And they're still only talking about things in the POV of like their household chores or what men want. Mm-hmm. I do think there's a dread in that scene that I like. And watching Bobby just be like, telling her friend, you cannot make fun of me. I think this is happening because she is trained by her husband to just assume every idea she has is emotional frivolity, right? We see that with our main character too, where he's like, Bobby got a new bra and now all of a sudden I got to fucking move houses. They're trained to think that their very thoughts themselves are destructive to the household, right?
Yeah.
I think the dread of this sequence starts to work really well. And then that is paired with the tennis court getting bulldozed. This lady's all Stepforded now. She's like, hey, I don't need tennis. And I didn't realize my husband wanted a pool. Like he just wanted a heated pool. And now he gets that. Isn't it great? It's just really repulsive. This scene, this is when it starts working well, right? I'm going to go away for a weekend and then they come back and they're Stepfords. The point in the movie, between these like kind of three scenes, they're all kind of running, bam, 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 bam. Bobby turning, I thought, was the best scene in the movie. That was dark and scary. Like that really, to me, solidified the evil of
like
all
happening, like happening upon Bobby, or like the second time when she goes there, like, where are my kids?
No, not even the first time when she just knows. Where Bobby's like, I'm cleaning. It's great. And she's all Stepforded. Yeah. And she says something, she's like, you don't dress like this. You don't. And she goes, yeah, I was a joke. Like I went away for a weekend. I had a great time with my husband. I realized I'm a joke and a loser. And like, this is better. And look at how I look. And I was like, oh my God. Because that's the one character where Bobby, it felt like they left a lot of her kind of core programming in. But they turned that like kind of snarky, commenter into she's only self-abusive. I was a joke. That line to me sealed, like, it was a really beautiful ribbon on like, this is why this is so fucking vile and insidious.
The thing that scared so we get to we get through, basically Joanna uncovers all this shit, has their little showdown with Diz, the world's first Disney adult. But like, I think the thing that really I find very disturbing about how this movie goes, and this is the question I have, there's a question I had at the end, and I'm not sure, and I might have missed the answer for it, but I don't think there was one. What happens to the original women?
Oh, they're dead. That's why she approaches her with the nylons like that. I think she strangles her out right there.
Is that the idea, that they get 86?
Yeah, and I think this is one of the things that I think this final scene kind of struggles. It's fucked up because she beats her husband's ass. She's like, where's my fucking kids? Like, she's going all hardcore. At one point, she just knows Bobby's not right and just stabs her in like the pussy area. Yeah,
stabs her in the stomach.
With the knife. And that scene is wild, dude. When she starts malfunctioning, she's like, why would you do that? Why would you? Why would you? And I was like, holy shit. She goes to see Diz and just drops the poker. And he's like, it's okay. I don't need any other men backup. It's just a woman. She's like, oh my God. And proves him right. Like, just doesn't fucking beat his ass to death. Yeah. Like, we didn't get him cracking his head open and find out he's a robot. She goes into the room with no weapon. She's kind of like, she's running away. And I was like, why did she turn into the exact thing she's supposed to not be the whole movie, which is this classic, like, ditzy, frolicking woman. And then all of a sudden she goes in the room. She's like, oh my God, it's my room. And her dead dog is there too. So I was like, did they robot Stepford the dog, or did the dog get taken to train and model on this new robot? All of a sudden she turns around in this completely sheer see-through nightie. We see the tits. We see some nice bush. But her eyes are fucking black. She's got Jaws eyes, dude. She's got Bruce eyes.
Yeah, she's got Jaws eyes. Yeah.
And she just turns and looks at her, and she grabs the pantyhose and just... And she just goes, no. And I was like, fucking bust a move. Run. Do anything. I thought the idea that this is a
dumb husband's ass.
Yes. Women have autonomy. Women have agency. Women have a voice movie. Ending with her just running like she's a teenager who just got nutted in Friday the 13th.
I agree.
And just doing nothing was insane.
I think for me, that's the part that bothered me as well. I don't like that this movie ended with her just kind of giving up. Like, I don't know.
Just full fucking bent over, yeah.
Again, I'm a man. That could be a completely different read for a female viewer. Because it feels like a kind of a letdown for an ending. Like, it's sad. It's like the end of a Twilight Zone episode. Mm-hmm. They're just like, well, that's tragic. But
yeah, I do think that the misery is the point, though, right? They want us to look at, hey, you might not think you're doing this, right? I remember I read an article not long ago, and my wife was just like, yeah, fuck you. You got to do more. And I was like, okay. But it was one of those, this thing where it's weaponized incompetence, where men just act like they can't do shit. And it becomes the wife's job. And that every wife who's working now, right? My wife works a full-time job. She does 12-hour shifts at the hospital. But it's like, you come home and the husband's like, oh, I don't do the dishes. I don't do the laundry. Me and the kids made a mess. Hey, we're hungry. What's for like that kind of thing, right? Like mom walks in from work and there's all this shit. And thankfully, I am not that bad of a husband, right? Like I'm not that bad. But she is like, there are some things that you could probably do more of, right? Like we both work. And it's just, I'm one of those people, like I save all my shit and it's like, all right, let's do it all right now. Let's just get it all done in a row. And she's like, hey, if you just do a little bit all the time, this is it. So we had one of those moments where it's like, she was like, you kind of suck and you got to do more. I didn't be like, that's it. Get the pantyhose. It's time to get the new model.
You just go, no, because you're an adult man. You go, oh, all right, I'll work on it.
Yes, I agree. That is shitty of me. I'm sorry. I suck. I will do better. It's not that hard.
Really simple equation.
Yeah, it's not that hard, guys. Can we stop? We got to get to this before we do messed up moments. Where did your mind land on the robot wife spectrum?
What do you mean?
Would you be into having sex with a robot?
Would I do it?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Well, here's the thing I noticed, because there's that great scene at the start where the guy walks up and just grabs his wife's boobs in the front yard, and the husband's like, he just grabbed her tit in the front yard. Like, they're like blown away. And you could see him in his brain like, I'm going to get to do that in 2 weeks. Nice. Well, and it's like, here's the thing though, because we hear that they are fucking these robots. I think the issue is the fucking a robot. I think we as a society have decided pretty cool and we're on board with. We're racing towards this. Fine. There's VR pornography. There's robot sex. Like we as a society have deemed that's okay. Where I think the Stepford thing to me, the thing that this movie's lacking to make a real pointed case, because it's really just saying men want women to be these 1950s whatevers. It's like I actually think, I think if this movie were a little more fleshed out, I don't think these men would actually like this at all, because your wife just never has an opinion. She never says a joke. Like, it's so gross. Like, cool. Having sex with a robot, I'm down. Why not? Here's what the movie I think in 2026 would be, is the guy's like, God, my wife's up my ass. Ugh! And he just goes out to the fuck shack in the backyard. And there's the other version of his wife's like, it's okay, honey. I'm sorry we fought. Zip. And it's like, nice. Now it's working. His and hers shed with sex robots.
In 2026, in 2026, the Stepford wife is the one who just accepts, like, hey, it's okay. Like, wow, you're taking the blame for this. Oh my God.
It is weird. I feel like that was a more transgressive idea. When this movie came out in 1975, you're like, the pharmacist is humping a robot. They're squeezing robot tits in the front yard. Like, what does that even feel like? I mean, now, like, after the 90s, we know what fake tits feel like. We've decided that we're going to have sex with robots. Like, that's just a thing. We've all had our dicks in non-human things. It is a moment I kind of paused and I was like, remember, like, what it must have been like to sit in the theater and be like, oh my God, would I have sex with a robot? Now I feel like that's kind of like so quaint that it's flipped, and all we are is like, what do you do with no personality? Like, maybe in a weird way, we have progressed as a society.
And I really, the guy who plays the husband, Walter, he has, when she describes, like, she just grabbed her, he just grabbed her titty right out. He's like, so what did you do? He goes, didn't off-core porn like you. And it was like, bro. You are a fucking pussy if you think that's softcore pornography, my friend.
It was hard back then. You don't remember. You had to find physical media to jack off.
I legitimately from the this movie, and again, it's not just because I know how it goes. I fucking hated that guy. I was like, as soon as she beat his ass, I was like, oh my God, just kill him. He sucks so bad. He was
immediately ready to like put hands on her. Like he had built this up.
Big time.
And she does not seem like, that's the thing. She's not like who you think the movie would make this character. Like she's not some like angry, indignant person. She seems like a very reasonable, normal partner. Right? Like she's not insulting him all the time. Like there's that great scene in Creepshow where it's Fluffy, right? The creature in the basement. And it's just that fucking old husband who's just like, yes, dear. And his wife's just shitting on him all the time and belittling him in front of his colleagues. You're like, yeah, maybe you would Stepford her, right? Like I get that. She's just cool as hell. Like she just wants to lay in the fields and like have an umbrella. It's like, that seems fucking rad. I'd do that. I don't know, man. It's a weird movie. I think the ending where it's like, but they also want them in the grocery store all the time. So they become these trophies of what the men have accomplished. But I do think the issue with this movie, I don't think it finishes what it's trying to say. It's like, yes, men are trying to destroy women. But in a weird way, I don't feel like the male or female point of view is fully fleshed out enough that it becomes an interesting discussion.
Yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's particularly well fleshed out. And like the conversation, this is the way I'd put it. The conversation isn't being had. It's just being like talked about.
Yeah. And again,
like,
you're just like, scary. It captures these ideas, but it's like, we don't like, why do the men fall into Diz's trap? They just assume that's what all of us want. Maybe this is also like this movie's 50 years old. Well, like maybe there's just some things that don't work for us.
To go back to the "Don't Worry, Darling" comparison. If Chris Pine is telling you something, I'd probably be more inclined to believe it over
right. But also,
Disney
Harry
adult.
Styles is an incel. Like he's like a fucking loser, and he had to trap this woman in virtual reality. That
all
makes
these guys
more
are
sense. Like that's a logical.
Exactly. All of it makes
step.
more sense. Again,
these guys are losers that should have some societal clout. So I guess maybe it's the same.
To your point, though, Diz being like the ringleader versus like a Chris Pine, I'd be like, yeah, the handsome guy seems like he's got it figured out. So, you know.
Yeah, instead of this, dude, that guy is the biggest creep. Like an unbelievably unlikable character in a movie.
He's like the guy who definitely like fondles the robots before they get sent out. Like, all right, dude, you can have your life back.
That's what I said. That guy's taking a turn on all these robots. No doubt about it. Yeah, because I was 100%. Like, why is she like in training and waiting in her fucking see-through nightie? It's not so that she can get put into a box and transported. She's not leaving the boys club in that outfit. That is so Diz can fucking be like, and this is how you do more missionary. Only missionary. Remember, that's part of your programming. Only missionary.
Only missionary.
Yeah, and it's like, ew. Yeah, no, I hope that thing is dishwasher proof.
There's two little factoids I do want. So originally, Brian De Palma was supposed to direct this movie, which I think would have made it an insanely better movie.
Yes, this is a perfect De Palma flick.
However, the producer says William Goldman threatened to leave the film if he got the job.
I can see that. De Palma also a pretty prickly person.
Pretty famous douchebag in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Watch his doc. He makes no bones about being a huge douche.
No, he's a dick. Like he's sort of like
he thinks it's part of the programming that makes him great.
He's like Friedkin in that regard, where they're just like willing to say everything. The other one, the director met with Diane Keaton, R.I.P. to be Joanna first.
Yeah. I like that.
But she turned down the part because apparently her analyst did not like the script.
I don't know that Diane Keaton would have upgraded this movie a lot, which is crazy to say because she's so talented.
I agree. Also, apparently another reason that William Goldman and the director did not get along was because William Goldman had a problem with the director casting his wife as one of the wives. Now, the wife is Nanette Newman is his wife, and she's Carol in the movie. And
I don't even remember which one that is.
I know, it's fine. But I'm going to read this quote because it was really fucking funny from Goldman. William Goldman wrote, Goldman felt that the 40-year-old Newman's appearance did not match the young, provocatively dressed model-like women he'd scripted for. She destroyed the reality of a story that was only precariously real to begin with. That's so fucking mean.
Holy shit. That is brutal.
So fucking mean, dude. William Goldman is like the meanest guy in Hollywood.
Just like Trump was like, Ted Cruz's wife's a dog. And Ted Cruz didn't go over and punch him in the face immediately. You're like, that's insane. That director had to find him and fist fight him. Your wife looks like a bust. Is she the redhead lady, the tennis player?
I think she's... it's Carol.
So, that's wild, dude. You can't be...
Oh, wait, no, Charmaine. That's Charmaine. Who's Carol?
Was she the alcoholic lady?
Maybe. I don't know. Either way.
Again, I don't know. Stepford's. Whatever. Once you take out the personalities, it's hard to tell. Yeah.
William Goldman saying, dude, your wife is busted. She can't be in this fucking movie.
So it sounds like William Goldman was also a huge fucking piece of shit. No wonder he didn't want to work with De Palma. It just had giant
William Goldman apparently was just a Diz in training, apparently.
That's crazy. So. That's why you think this movie didn't work? I actually think it's better when the Stepfords are like middle-aged women. I think that actually works better. It's kind of weird. I was thinking a lot about Mar-a-Lago face when I was watching this movie. It was just a weird...
Ooh, yeah.
Like, this movie has kind of aged in weird ways that are not good, but also kind of like, it's around. It's still around. Again, the trad wife craze online. Like, there's a lot of weird... The guys that are, like, into measuring face chads and shit. Like, there's so much weird internet shit. They're, like, weirdly, I feel like Stepford is kind of coming back. Like, it's hitting a more evolved form. I don't know. I think it's aging with us nicely.
It's a little more terrifying. But this movie definitely is aging well. Yeah. Unfortunately.
What was the most messed up moment in the Stepford Wives?
There's just so many. I'll tell you the one that, like, I mean, it's not like messed up. But I guess the way that I, like, when we watch these movies, that first, like, scene between Diz and Joanna, I was like, run. As soon as she came back, she's like, we need to go. I'm like, yeah, instinct is right on there. Absolutely.
Yeah,
that guy's
it's like you're talking to your husband. You're like, you're in a club that guy's in charge of? No.
Yeah.
no. That guy gives off raper vibes, dude. Graper vibes. Yeah, we're not into this. He's
1000% is the most messed up moment because I was like, and then him to just deny her, I'd be like, fuck this place. I'm taking my kids and you can stay if you want, but fuck this.
Yeah. Hey, I'll find some other bald lawyer. I'm out. I'll pair this. I was torn between the most messed up moment in Stepford Wives being Bobby getting stabbed and malfunctioning.
Yeah,
and she's kind of our
like
spunky fun's character.
Yeah.
And when she just stabs her out of nowhere, her own friend, and it's like, why would you do that? Well. She's like malfunctioning and doing the robot in the kitchen. There's like a real sadness for me in that moment. But I do think actually the most depraved thing we see in the movie is the very end. Our lead woman who's standing up for, the personhood of all women, just totally devolving into a trope of a scared woman, running into a room and seeing her own bedroom. This is the weird thing, because earlier in the film, we saw them measuring the bedroom and all that, and I was like, what does that have to do with the robot? We see that there's a version of her that's now kind of like tightened up, hottened up, right? Like an anime version of her. In a see-through nightie, where we see some boobs, we see some bush, and she's walking over. She's going to strangle her with pantyhose. I'm like, why this room? Why the dead dog being back? Why this outfit? Everything. And I was like, oh, my God. The last thing that woman sees before that robot strangles her to death is that Diz has been breaking his creation in to send to her bald piece of shit husband. What, you do not transport a newly made robot woman back to her husband in that negligee with Bruce the Shark eyes. Diz is clapping his own creations and then sending them back to their husbands and be like, it's working.
Gross.
Just
There's no way
right.
he's not.
There's no way horrible. He's not fucking pounding each of these creations.
So gross and horrible.
It is. It's like he needs new guys to move in so he can just keep banging new wives and then the guys are just like, we are so happy that our wives aren't going to have opinions anymore that you can just keep doing that once a week. Is that good? Yeah. Should we set it up?
That's what it is. The robots show up at the house like, listen, we're so happy. They smell a little like Brill cream at first, but that wears off. But thank you very much for all you've done, Diz.
Yeah.
So gross.
She's sticking to the furniture, but that's a small price to pay for silence.
Yeah, her nightie broke in half on the first night, but I guess that's just part of it, right? I don't know.
It's so gross, dude. That guy, one of the most underrated, creepiest guys in a movie ever. That's it for the Stepford Wives. Shockingly, still very relevant today. Isn't that fucking terrifying? We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Please go to Indiegogo. Type in Mr. Cream Jeans, our first movie. Help us get that movie made by getting the perk where you join this podcast. That would be incredible. Please go to Messed Up Movies Podcast Patreon page. Support this show. Help us grow this very show. That would also be incredible. And if you would, sorry, I like froze. I was like, why? If you would, find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all the places. Misfit Parade on YouTube. Subscribe there. Follow us there. That would mean the world to us.